everyone, this is Kritika. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, on this channel I make videos about travel, lifestyle and personal development, and today we're talking about my 10 best purchases that I've made in my 20s. So I've recently started a series about navigating your 20s. I'll leave a playlist here in case you want to check it out. Now I still have a year and a half to go in my 20s, but your 20s are an interesting time because for the first time in life, you start making money, so you've got money to actually spend on things. And as someone who's been through most of her 20s, I wanted to share some of the best things I spent my money on that have helped me not just grow my income, but just be a better version of myself and have been good purchases, so to say. So let's get started. First is my laptop. Now I'm not talking about my new laptop which I got recently, but this is my old laptop, which is the 2015 MacBook Pro. I recently upgraded to the latest M1 MacBook Pro a couple of months ago, but for the past 6 years I used this MacBook, and at the time it was the most expensive thing I'd ever gotten. I think it was for over a lakh, and a part of me felt so guilty to be buying it because of how expensive it was. I think it's still in the top 10 or top 5 most expensive things I've ever bought list. But this has been one of the best investments ever and has been with me through a lot of different phases of my life. I got it right after I'd finished my postgrad in Xavier's and was entering my third corporate job, I think. I started my blog and did all the work for that on this. I learned Photoshop, a lot of different softwares, eventually started my YouTube channel, which has been one of the most life-changing things in my life. And until last month, every single video that you've seen on my channel was edited on this little baby over here. That's over 300 videos and a really good amount of money that I've earned thanks to the work that I do now. All of that was enabled by this laptop, so I'm so grateful for this. So hands down, one of the best purchases and something that has paid off many times over. Next is my camera. In particular, I'm talking about this camera here, which is the Canon G7X Mark II. Although I didn't start my YouTube channel with this, I just started with my phone. Most of the videos on my channel that were filmed between October 2017 to I think May or June 2020 were shot using this. So basically that's over 200 videos that were filmed using this camera, and it's been all around the world with me. It still works, although as you can see it's not in the best condition. The lens cover won't shut even though the camera is off, so I don't use this anymore. I've upgraded my gear since then, but again, this was a very expensive purchase for me at the time. I think it was for around 45,000 rupees if I remember right. But this bad boy has literally helped me build my whole brand and my whole YouTube channel and career that I have right now. I feel like an investment like this, which is for your passion and your career, never goes to waste. A camera may not be the thing for you if you're not into photography or if you don't want to start a YouTube channel, but whatever the equivalent of that is for you, I'm sure it's worth investing in. Next we have my Kindle. This is the Kindle Paperwhite and I got it back in 2016. I've always been super into reading, but ever since I got the Kindle, it's just enabled me to read a lot more. And once I got used to the Kindle, which took like a couple of weeks because I was so used to reading physical books, the experience of reading on the Kindle has just been so enjoyable for me, at least. I think I now actually prefer the Kindle to physical books, and I've probably read over 100 books easily on this. And even though it's 5 years old, it still works really well. I've also noticed a lot of my friends who have a Kindle say they end up reading more. So if you want to read more, then consider getting yourself an e-reader. Another really good thing about this is that I can travel very easily with it, and it can store so many books on it. So especially when I was living in a studio apartment in Mumbai, which didn't really have too much space to store physical books, the Kindle was a lifesaver. The third thing is kind of cliche and it's education, but let me explain further. Now I'm not talking about traditional education like a college degree. Of course, that has its pros, and the brand name of the institutions that I've studied in, like Lady Shri Ram and Xavier Institute of Communications, that's definitely helped me in life as well. And it can be a great investment depending on what career you want to be pursuing. But what I'm talking about is just education in general. I feel like it's so important to learn like actual useful skills, whether it's through YouTube videos or online courses or platforms like Skillshare. There are endless ways to learn every single day, and I make sure I'm learning something new each day because especially in my profession, that really pays off. In the last 2 years, I've also invested in a ton of different online courses about different topics that interest me, and the knowledge and the skills that I've acquired through these courses keep paying off even right now. At number 5, we have the LASIK eye surgery. I got this done back in 2018, and if you don't know what LASIK eye surgery is, it's basically a corrective surgery for people who have eye power. So it basically fixes your eye power. I used to wear glasses, now I don't need glasses anymore because of LASIK. I have a detailed video about LASIK and my whole experience on my channel, but getting this done has considerably increased the quality of my life. I can't even define it in words. It probably sounds like an exaggeration, but post LASIK, I honestly feel like a new person. I didn't hate wearing glasses, I actually liked glasses, but I absolutely hated wearing lenses. I just didn't like that lens wearing experience at all. And while filming and traveling and stuff, I always ended up having to wear lenses because, you know, when you're out in the sun, like, you need sunglasses. I don't know, it's just like very complicated. And just in general, when you're wearing glasses, you get so used to it that it doesn't seem like such a problem. But LASIK has literally been like such a big blessing, and having good vision again makes me feel really grateful, and also just makes life easier in a lot of different ways. Next is travel, and I'm sure this comes as no surprise to anyone here, but in particular, I'm talking about my first international solo trip, which was to Singapore. I'd done a trip to Bali and Singapore. Both were kind of solo, but while Bali was with a group of people, in Singapore I was completely solo and by myself, and that trip was quite an experience. Some of the best lessons of my life have come from travel in general, but that solo trip to Singapore made me learn so much about myself and made me feel super empowered. I didn't want to spend too much money on that trip, so I did a budget trip. I stayed in a hostel, 2 hostels in fact, and if you watch my vlog, you probably can't tell, but there were times during the day when I was just so uncomfortable being alone by myself. I remember the time when I had to move from the capsule pod, which was my first hostel, to the other hostel I had booked. It was right next to each other, but I had my period then. It was such an exhausting day, and I was carrying like this heavy AF suitcase down the stairs from one hostel and up the stairs in the next hostel because neither of them seemed to have elevators. And somehow the whole process, I don't know, that day I just broke down in tears. It wasn't about the suitcase obviously, but I think I just never spent so much time alone in like such a new environment, in a new country, outside my comfort zone by myself. But after that crying session, I remember giving myself a pep talk and telling myself that I'm just going to make the most of the rest of the trip. And I ended up booking tickets to go to Universal Studios alone. Imagine going to like an amusement park by yourself. So that was really fun, and yeah, the rest of the trip was just a blast. I just became a lot more comfortable with my own company, and since then I've traveled solo quite a few times, and although I still don't think solo travel is like my most favorite type of traveling, I do enjoy it a lot, and I think that trip will always hold a special place in my heart. Next is this backpack, which you've probably seen me carry on every single trip of mine. It's from this brand called Victorinox, and I remember exactly the day that I bought this. I feel like my lifestyle now is very different to what it was 4 or 5 years ago because I make a lot more money now. But back then, buying an expensive bag wasn't the easiest thing for me to do. This bag was for 6,000 rupees. I got it at a 50% discount, so I only spent like 3,000 rupees on it. But even that was like a lot of money for me at that time. I needed a new backpack before a trip, and I think in my head my budget was more like 1,000 rupees, I think. But I was going around stores looking for a bag, I remember in Phoenix Mall in Mumbai, and came across this bag which was perfect for my purpose. I needed like a lot of different compartments for my laptop, a lot of like different pockets and stuff, and this bag was just perfect for that. But somehow I didn't find a better bag. I ended up getting this, and I'm so glad I did because this bag is honestly worth its price. I've obviously bought other bags in my life, but when you invest in a good quality bag or anything for that matter, the quality difference really shows. This has been so durable. It also has really nice padding on the back, so even when I'm carrying like a lot of my heavy equipment and stuff, it doesn't feel so bad on my back. And yeah, it's just been one of my constant travel companions. So I think the lesson here is that with things that will usually last you a long time, like bags and suitcases or anything, actually a good jacket, it's usually better to pay a little extra for the quality and make it last longer. I think that's a more sustainable option as well. Next on this list, we've got menstrual cups. You probably weren't expecting this in this video, but switching from pads and tampons to menstrual cups has been one of the best decisions I've made. And it's not only made the whole period experience a lot nicer and easier, it's also a more sustainable and more affordable option. I have a couple of menstrual cups, I'm using one right now because I have my period right now. But I have a detailed video on menstrual cups if you'd like to check it out. A cup typically costs around 500 to 800 rupees on average, and it can last as long as 10 years if you take good care of it. So apart from all the other benefits, like I said, it's also extremely economical because this is how much you'd end up spending, I think, in like 3 or 4 months if you were using pads and tampons. So it's a great affordable option, and it's super comfortable to use. I've done trekking, I've been in the water, I've done like numerous trips and like strenuous like itineraries and stuff like that while on my period, and it was all made easy thanks to menstrual cups. So if you're still on the fence about giving cups a shot, do watch my video. I think it'll at least get you to consider trying them out. This next one may seem kind of random, but it's my Ray-Ban Wayfarers. So you've probably seen me wear these in a lot of my videos and photos. This was actually a gift from my grandparents back in 2013 when I graduated from college. So not really a purchase I made as such, but these are the most expensive sunglasses I own. I think they were for 9,000 or 10,000 rupees, and if I were to buy them on my own and if it wasn't a gift, I don't think I would have bought it. But no matter how many other cheaper sunglasses I've gotten since then, these just feel so much better. I think unless you actually use them and try them out, you won't be able to tell the difference, because I'm not only talking about how they look on me, but just how good they feel. The lenses on these are polarized, so I love using them on my travels because whatever I see through them just looks so much nicer. Like the colors and everything is so nice, especially when you're around water. Wearing these, you can actually see the different shades of water like distinctly, which you can't with your naked eye. So yeah, I love them, and that's probably why you see me wearing these so much on my trips. Lastly, we've got my apartment in Mumbai. My decision to move back to Mumbai and rent an apartment by myself, even though Mumbai is so expensive and rent there is off the charts, it's insanely high, it was still one of the best things I could have done for myself and for my business. Now, in case you didn't know, I've lived in Mumbai in the past, but always had roommates and flatmates and stuff. But the last time I moved back, like back in 2019, I decided to rent a studio apartment by myself. This turned out to be quite expensive. I don't think my old landlady would like me to like disclose the rent because rent prices do fluctuate. But to give you some context, I think I could have gotten 2 pairs of AirPods Pro each month with the money I was paying for rent. So you can imagine how much I was paying. When I was apartment hunting, I honestly even considered not moving back at all and just continue staying with my parents in Vellore, since that was obviously more economical, and the budget I had in mind was much lower than what I ended up having to pay. But I'd moved back for a bunch of different reasons, which I'd explained in detail in a separate video. You could check that if you're interested. And more than anything, taking the step just made a huge shift in mindset for me and take my business more seriously and get more strategic about making money, because now I knew I had like a lot more expenses to cover. Before I moved, apart from traveling and like a few other minor expenses, even traveling was actually usually sponsored by like brands and tourism boards and stuff. I didn't really have any major expenses, to be honest, and that is like a good way to live. But there was also this mindset block I had with taking my YouTube like business more seriously and making money. I just felt like I didn't need to be making more money and I was doing fine, so I felt like I was kind of stuck and feeling a little bit stagnant. But just moving to Mumbai and planning to rent an apartment by myself and pay so much rent money each month, it pushed me to work harder and changed my whole like approach to YouTube and my business. And even though I don't live there now, that 1 year of paying rent got me the results I think I needed in my business. I was able to make like 3 to 4 times more than I did before I moved. So overall, it was like a good decision. I also got like a lot more work opportunities and invitations by tourism boards and stuff, which I don't think I would have gotten otherwise, because I put myself in a location that made it possible for me to get these opportunities. So that was a super scary but an incredible investment that I made. I'd love to know what some of the best purchases you've made in your 20s and why they were so great. So let me know in the comments below. And speaking of being in your 20s, do check out this video to see the 10 biggest money mistakes to avoid in your 20s. I posted this recently. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time in another video. Bye!